Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We're talking about numerology tonight, I guess, depending on where in the world you are right now. And we have two guests. Well, our guest Fiona she's from Scotland, and it's like the wee hours of the morning for her. So
were you trying to be like Scottish right there with the "we" part? Like, calm down.
So let's talk about why numerology. Like, what is it that gets you excited? Because I think both of us have had our own experiences lately with numerology. So what's it doing for you?
Well, I kind of have a cool story. I did my homework because I know you love it when I do my homework.
Of course, I love it when you do your homework.
Yeah, you're all about that. So I'm all about that. And I actually have a really cool story about numerology. Back when I was really, really heavy in my disease, like when and spirituality was not a thing. It was just about the bottle. I remember I kept asking for a sign that I was going to be okay. And I kept seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 everywhere. And that was the sign I gravitated towards. Like every time I saw it, I was like, I'm going to be all right. Like, I'm not going to die. I'm going to make it. Like, honestly, like I would see it like on the clock. I would see it like the time. I would see it like newspapers. I'd see 1, 2, 3, 4, but I never looked up what it meant until today when I was doing the research for today. And it's really cool what actually 1, 2, 3, 4 means in numerology. And basically it means 1, 2, 3, 4 means if you're seeing this, it's time to declutter what is all around you and most importantly, what is within you. And I just thought that was really interesting that all these years, I always remember like just seeing it, like being so sick, like vomiting from alcoholism and just being so sick. And I'd see 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, I'm going to make it through this. And it turns out the universe was trying to tell me it's time to declutter all that is within you. So that was my first experience with numerology. What about you, Ash?
Yeah, I think the universe was trying to subtly give you signs until it had to
beat me to death.
Things up, yeah. So how to step things up because it starts with like a whisper and like here's some numbers and then it can escalate. So maybe that's a good thing that why we're talking about this. I want to hear from you guys that are watching. Like, is there certain numbers that you see all the time? Is there like a certain time that you happen to always look at the clock at? I know for me the number 33 is actually the one that I see most often. And I know 33 is like very, very connected with the divine. I know that 3 is a part of like one of my birth code numbers that I've read about. And I want to say it's like related to DNA. Like I don't know, it's like an interesting number that I feel like I'm just beginning to understand. And then a few years ago, my husband bought me this numerology book and it kind of stayed like on the shelf for like a couple years probably.
Till you're ready. You weren't ready to hear it till then.
I think I dabbled in it and then I guess maybe in the last month or so I was like, I don't know, numerology, I just feel nudged towards it. I just feel curious about it. And so I started to just kind of play around and do my own birth code numbers. And we did some of yours at a certain point just to kind of see what we were getting. And I think it's my understanding. I'll see what Crystal and Fiona have to say. Like, it seems like from our experiences that there might be different approaches or different meanings culturally. But from what I've seen, it's very accurate. And it even gave me, and I think you as well, like certain confirmations in terms of being on our path of that, like, wow, like this sounds like spot on. This is sort of mirroring back at me some things that I've been questioning and not knowing if I should be stepping into. And so I just think it's almost like an instruction manual. And I think Crystal might touch on that a little bit, but yeah, I just find it all very intriguing.
So I did my homework because you know how you and I like were really like asking like, oh, I wonder like if because I have a friend that did my soul contract. You had done your own. So there's considered 3 major different versions of numerology, and of course there's going to be more out there as the spiritual world always expands, like the universe expands. There'll be more and more, but there's 3 major ones. And I'm going to say these wrong because I'm super white and I can't pronounce things very well. So the first is considered the Palladian, which is numerology that closest ties to astrology. It originated.
It's called Palladian?
Uh-huh. I could be saying that
Palladian.
wrong, so don't get excited, okay, you Palladian freak.
I was like, so this one's from the alien son, is what you're saying.
Palladian with the C, you Palladian freak. So this is the astrology that originated in Mesopotamia. The basis is that each letter has a unique vibration, is assigned a number from 1 to 8. The number 9 is kept separate, except when it appears from the culmination of other numbers. So basically, you know this, like when you get down to like base numbers, when you add them up, you add those final 2 numbers up, and that's the only time they use 9, because 9 is considered the most sacred. The second one is the Kabbalic numerology, often used to interpret names derived from the Hebrew mythology, is the outgrowth of the Hebrew alphabet with 22 different vibrations. And the most popular is the Greek numerology, which is both uses the name, the date of birth, and examines its relationship between the two of them. So those are the 3 major ones. I think that Fiona, I haven't met her yet, and Crystal, I think they both use different systems. So I'm really excited to see if they match up. I believe Fiona's doing mine, correct? And Fiona's never met me. And
Right.
Crystal's doing yours. And even though you guys are friends, she's not as close to you. So I'm excited to see if like they actually nail it on the head or what's up, or if it's going to reveal something new.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm also curious to see like what their suggestions might be for people that are listening that want to dive into some of this themselves, if there's places that they've learned or books or resources, because I do really like this book. I feel like I've looked around on the internet because of course like it's interesting, like one of my clients started being like, I'm taking a numerology course, and I looked up my wealth code and I was like, what is that? Like, I'm excited. Like, numerology has been so much in my flow lately that I've dabbled in kind of looking up different sites, but I feel like some of them are better than others. Like some of them, like the information, it just doesn't feel like it's very thorough. And so I don't know. I know that there's a lot of stuff out there, but I'm excited to hear from these women today, like maybe where we should go, what we don't know about. I know the other thing that gets you and I excited is like whenever there's certain dates, like the portals, like the 1010 portal or the like 1111. Although I can't say fully, like I feel like I get excited and I'm just like, wow, that sounds good. Like some kind of energetic, opening is happening. Like I don't know. Like I definitely get very curious because I know that certain dates are said to have vibrations and frequencies, certain our address, maybe even our business name. I know one thing, I don't even think I shared this with you because you don't really have a nickname, at least not that I call you. Well, I mean,
yeah. You call me some names.
Some of your gentleman callers probably have some nicknames for you.
You're the one talking about energetic openings over there, but go on.
So, yeah, like I thought it was interesting that when I was giving your name and like birthday to Fiona for her to look up whatever details she's going to share to get a little personality profile on you, she was asking if you had any nicknames. And so she was saying that sometimes people's nicknames, like, or shortening their name in a certain way might have different frequencies. So I would assume it'd probably be the same thing for a business, which I never even thought about that before. So it's like, interesting. I'm curious what I'm going to learn, and I feel like our guests are always very eye-opening.
So basically, I just want to get educated on this. I mean, you and I like really love, like we really don't know fully what those portals mean, so maybe we'll get educated on that. I really enjoyed really getting schooled and educated last week, so I'm really excited to get, because I really don't know enough about numerology. It really intrigues me, but I'm really excited to. I know Crystal is like, this is like her peanut butter and jelly. I can't wait to meet Fiona. Do you want to read this comment up here from Miss Christina Murphy?
Yes. So I feel like this might be something a little bit different. For some reason, because I see Carl or Grey Wolf is watching, I feel like Grey Wolf probably has an answer for this better than I would. But so Christina is asking, what about times like If a time stands out, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. on the dot every morning. It would freak me out, like some scary movie status. So I've heard that a lot of people wake up to meditate during that time. I don't know exactly what it is about that hour, but that maybe sort of the veil is thinner, but there's a lot of people that just sort of get more spiritual information. I know when I go up, like I go to pee, like at that time, I feel like sometimes I sit on the toilet and then I have all these spiritual downloads and sort of like get these weird glimpses of how things are going to be. And
just peeing.
you're not amused. I don't poop in the middle of the night. Yes.
Yeah, whatever. Keep going with that story. But real quick, I know that Wayne Dyer, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but he talks about the 3 a.m. hour. So, Christina, this might be something for you. Gray Wolf might have some more insight. I like how we force Gray Wolf to interact with us. But Wayne Dyer talks about 3 a.m. being the time that God was most clear for him. Wayne Dyer has now since transitioned to other forms, but he talked about it. That was the time that God was speaking most clearly to him, and he would wake up at 3 a.m. at the dot every day as well when he was writing his book, The Power of Intention, and it would just flow from him because that was his time with God. And he would recommend to the readers to get up at 3 a.m. to do your meditation, and that's your time with God. So it's very interesting that you woke up at the same time, Christina. Maybe you should be writing a book or something, not just.
It's a very common thing though, because I see Emily saying me too, someone else that just is showing up as Facebook user on the back end of StreamYard. Like there's multiple people that are saying that. So Grey Wolf is saying that they are angel numbers, number synchronicities, there are messages and number patterns. So totally, I think it's maybe a mix. I think the only way you can probably know is to just kind of tune in and trust. Or Christina, maybe you try to meditate at 3 a.m. and see if it feels different. If you
or maybe go poop like Ashley.
I think that if you guys have questions, I know that there's different kind of connections that both of our guests have with numerology. But if you guys do have questions or curiosities, we'll see if there's anything that's standing out, that's jumping out for them, and we'll pull them in. So even if James and I, because I feel like we're kind of newbies in the numerology space, if we don't know how to answer it, we will bring it in and see if maybe Fiona has a perspective, if Crystal has a perspective. So just drop your questions in the comments and we'll pull them in. Do you have anything that you're curious to learn today? Is there something that you're really hoping to get from both of these guests?
Well, a friend of mine had just done my soul contract a month ago, and it was really, I told you this already, and she got down to if you have a certain amount of reappearing numbers over and over again, I believe she was using, and I could be completely wrong about this, wet brain, but I believe she was using the Hebrew version of it, and there was a couple, quote unquote, God messages, because I believe, what did I tell you? Was it 7 to 8 or 8 and 9?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was 7 8s kept showing up. That she read these specific messages to me, and it kind of gave me chills, these very specific messages, and it pretty much hinted at a life of working with others that are suffering, and of course everyone knows I'm in recovery, and that's where my heart is at, is that I'm dedicated to really helping other people come out of the suffering of addiction. So I'm interested to see if that collates or works with anything Fiona's going to bring to the table or Crystal's going to bring to the table, because I think it all intersects, no matter what version you're using, the Kabbalic, the Greek version. I think it all intersects. That's been my experience in spirituality. It all ties in. It all goes together. It all flows into the universe. So I'm interested to see if Fiona's going to have anything to say on that. What about you?
I wanted to bring in Grey Wolf's comment here. So it actually was what we were thinking. So 3 a.m., he says, is a very active time for spirit. Some call it the witching hour, when the veil between the two worlds is thin. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm always Googling angel number meanings. Check out 333 angel number meanings. Yeah. And then Jenny, she's like, I see patterns of triple numbers in my world, and they repeat over and over again, 777, 222, 333, the past couple weeks. And I've always noticed that when you're really in sync and in flow, like I tend to see those numbers, and that's I guess what the common consensus is that when you are in flow, in universal flow, and kind of moving with life, that things tend to sync up, and a lot of those repeating numbers are there. And as well as like how we were saying with Grey Wolf, that like there are messages that get pulled through, that those numbers all have meanings. You ready to bring in Fiona?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick though, for anyone that has, it's important for me to say, like when I mention God, I want everyone to understand it's a communication word. So I don't want anyone to get stuck on like, oh God, they're getting religious, or like the witching hour. Like I want everyone to understand like whatever spiritual terminology works for you, that it all resonates at this table. Because I don't want us to get lost in like, oh, God's means they're talking about Christianity or Catholic or which, I mean, they're talking just specifically about that. It's just important for me to point that out, because I want to make sure everyone feels comfortable and welcome at the round table. So I had to just say that real quick.
Yeah. I feel like I think of Abraham Hicks immediately, that it's just like, not everyone's going to understand you because everyone's at different frequencies. And so I guess it's just going to depend at what frequency they're at what point. And we'll just leave it to the universe and Buddha and God and whatever to figure it out for them. Just kidding. Okay. Okay. Fiona, I'm going to bring you in. So this is Fiona Dilston. Hi, Fiona. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
Hi, Fiona.
Can you scooch just a little bit over? I see like part of your face because we have you in this rectangle. There you are.
You got me.
Hello.
You got me. Hi.
Hi, Fiona. Welcome.
You're
Thank you
in
for having me.
Scotland.
Yes.
Scotland, right? Okay. Can you tell people, I know that numerology is one of the many things that you do, and we were connected. Somebody actually recommended Fiona to me, but would you be willing to just share with everybody a little bit about what you do and how the numerology ties into that?
Okay. I'm an alternative health practitioner, and as well, I've read tarot for nearly 30 years, and I basically use the numerology to see patterns, to identify things. And I will, if I've got my homeopathy hat on, I may be drawn to a particular remedy because of the letters in that. And I mean, I'm very embryonic with pulling that bit in at the moment, but I use the numerology totally as a tool, as a way to have a look. And I like to have a look at somebody's numbers and go, because if I have somebody in consultation, they may not be wanting to reveal everything. And I can more quickly have a look at their numbers than having a look at an astrology chart. And it's just like, right, we've got that archetype.
So you know the right questions to ask to maybe get a fuller picture of them and their lifestyle and habits.
It just gives me then a little bit of an insight. And, it's not, obviously you want to, if you're working with somebody and it's health issues, you want their date of birth. You need the basics, what medication they're on, blah, blah, blah. And it just, for me, and I'm self-taught. It's, something I've used for a long time and just pulled things together and gone, okay. And I link my numerology with the first 9 cards of the tarot. So I found it really quite interesting that somebody else was missing out. Well, another technique was missing out the 9, whereas the 9 is great as far as I'm concerned. It's just like, bring it on.
Well, so to clarify, the first one we talked about, the Palladian Ashley, they extract the 9, except for when it is the culmination of the 2 numbers at the end, because they consider it the most sacred. It is the most sacred.
Well, that is interesting that you're saying that is the most sacred, because the 9 is the number of the hermit in the tarot, and that is one of the most spiritual cards. And with that, it's like you're on track, you are on spiritual path. So that is maybe why they've pulled it out.
See, so I think it does all intersect. I just want to ask you real quick, Fiona, I'm kind of curious and kind of nosy. Have you ever been able to call someone's bullshit or pull something out of them through numerology that they weren't telling you when you were trying to assist them?
I think I've pulled tendencies out.
Okay.
Where somebody has said, you know, I'm really rubbish at pulling my life together. And then I've, you know, said to them, okay, you're saying that, but I've got the magician here, which is number 1. And that is using all of your skills, pulling everything together. And interestingly, when you were talking about having the 1, 2, 3, 4, I did a little bit of adding up. That comes to 10. 10 breaks down to 1 because you'd add the 1 and the 0. And that, again, is the magician. So you were having that 1, 2, 3, 4 repeating. And that was saying to me, I've got the skills to pull together to get through this.
That's so fascinating, because that's exactly what I needed to hear at that time. So that is fascinating. I do think it all intersyncs. So it's amazing.
So let's dive into James. I want to see what you got.
Okay, well,
you just say nasty things.
I do, like I said, I do a very quick and dirty.
Yeah.
I love it. We love it quick and dirty around here.
I don't start saying, and you've got correlations with the archangel, whoever.
Give it to us hard.
I'm just very, very practical. So if we're looking at your date of birth, we've got the 15th of June, 1981.
Now everyone knows his age, so he can't lie. So it's on record.
So with that, I'd be adding all the numbers together and then reducing them down till I got one figure. And we get the 4, which is the Emperor.
Okay.
And this is talking about for me. And there was a certain amount of psychic tuning in as well. It's just the nature of the beast with how I work. And we're talking about this as this card as the Emperor. Internal stability, the capacity to be out there and to achieve in the world. You can have good structure and boundaries and get things done. You came into this life with some support there for you, with the tenacity to get yourself through. There is a stability within you despite other stuff that has gone on. So that's what I'm feeling. And that might be what other people call a soul number. I like to keep what I do accessible to people. So
what was that number again, Fiona? I'm sorry.
That number again was the 4.
4. Okay. And the Emperor in tarot.
The Emperor. Okay. And then if we break down your name, that your full name, the James Christopher Schlusser, and I assume I'm pronouncing it right.
Just don't do my social security card, okay?
It's all right. I've got that. I won't share it. But.
Okay.
So, from your name, we get the Empress, which is saying that you have a very lovely, gentle, caring, nurturing side. And I was just, when I was hearing you, when I was in the green room at the back, I was just going, yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Fiona.
This is, this is you all over. And with the name James on its own, we get the Empress as well.
Oh.
So I played a little with this, and if you were called Jim, and you're not a Jim, I can tell by looking at you, you would be the Emperor.
Okay.
Because
so
that has
nice to be maybe like straight or maybe hyper masculine, then he could change his name to that. And yeah.
Just ignore her, Fiona.
Maybe that came out wrong. I'm just
no, I can't be dealing with PC. I really cannot. I can't be dealing with anything being politically correct. No.
Get in the right place, Fiona.
Thank goodness for that. Right. Okay. So with your middle name, with the Christopher, we've got the 4. And with your surname, with the Schlusser, we've got the 5. And I have a little tarot epic fail. Just give me a second. I've not pulled the card. I will find the card. The Schlusser is the 5, is the Hierophant, is the High Priest, is the teacher.
Okay, interesting.
So this, for me, is saying we've got a really nice balance there. And I'm not doing it just to butter you up. It's what's come through.
I like you buttering me up.
So we've got that, and I did a little bit more playing because I think it's important to. And it's like if you're doing something, if you are, in the media, you're in the public eye, you may want to use your name in different ways. So what I did was I looked at James Schlusser, and we get Strength card.
Oh, I love that. Nice.
So it's like, if you use that, if you were using that, that might be helpful if you are maybe writing or putting stuff out there saying, this is, where I've come from, this is what I've achieved, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, this is what I'm capable of. Because if you've come through addictions, you have literally been taking charge. You've been not afraid to put your hand in the lion's mouth.
Oh, I love that. I just love you, Fiona. I can listen to you all day.
Okay, good. I've not quite finished yet. I have not quite finished yet.
I don't want you to be finished. I want to listen to you all day.
Okay, well, you can book me again if you want.
Yes, we do have her links in Solange. Maybe that's a perfect. Solange can drop your links in your site while you're sharing it.
Okay, so if we look at just using Christopher Schlusser, if you wanted to get a bit more spiritual, we come up with the 9.
My new name is Christopher Slesser. I want you to all respect that from here on out.
So that's when you want to go all guru.
Okay, Christopher Slesser, respect it.
It's playing with it. I love it. Just to bring in that I can do this with it. I can do that with it. And I do think that, you've got a nice set of numbers there. And I think you've come from what, just overhearing, hearing while I was in the back, what you had to say about your background. I was like, this is great.
Well, thank you.
You are supported with what you've, come in with. And, you've not changed your name at all. This is what you were given.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
This is great.
I don't think I'd pick that German ass long name if I was going to pick a name. So yeah, Slusser is the name.
But it's lovely. The Slusser, it's out there, but there is a great sensitivity with it because the letters C, L, and U vibrate with the 3, which is the Empress.
It's interesting. The Emperor and the Empress keep coming up. I'm gonna
saying you've got a lovely male-female balance there.
Mm-hmm. Also, yeah.
That you are somebody who's very, very accessible to people, accessible to both genders.
One
more than the other, but I get what you're saying.
But just, somebody who is easy to talk to, that kind of stuff. So, if you're thinking of, yes, I'm going to help other people through who've, had addiction issues, it's like, bring it on. Because we've got, the Hierophant energy, which is the teaching, the counseling, the wisdom. If you look closer at this card, there's keys there. And you are able to give people the keys to heal, the keys to recover.
I think if I'm going to interview for anything, Fiona, I'm just going to play this clip for whoever's interviewing me and be like, what? Think it's a good idea, Fiona? No?
Well, get in touch with me and we can pull something together that's maybe better for you.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by this. Thank you for really digging deep, because honestly, all bullshitting aside, I am totally interested in digging into this deeper. So thank you. I appreciate you greatly.
It was completely spot on. I saw Crystal nodding in the backstage area as well. So I think we are all hearing how accurate that is. So I just want to let you know that we're all kind of confirming exactly what you're getting. There's a link in the comments if you're watching on Facebook. We'll put it in the show notes if you guys are listening back to the audio of this in podcast version. But if you want to have a session with Fiona, go ahead and just click that link, or you can look her up. I know your website is just your full name as well, just FionaDilston.com.
Yeah, my website is under construction at the moment. So basically, calendly.com/Fiona Dilston, and you can book a half-hour reading with me there and just explore. And we can explore names of businesses, house numbers, whatever else. And I totally concur, Ashley, with you're in the flow when you have the 3 numbers popping up all over the place.
Well, Fiona, thank you so much. We'll definitely need to utilize you if you're down, if you're game for us to bring you back to the round table, because you are so insightful. And thank you so much, all the way from Scotland, joining us. Thank you.
So, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, love.
And, if I can be of help, give me a shout.
Thank you so much. I think people will be hitting you up, girl.
Well, I just want to sit and watch now. I can't go to bed now.
Please do.
We love it.
Ashley likes being watched.
No, you guys are great. You guys are great fun.
Thank you, love. Thank you so much. Bye, Fiona.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fiona. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
So rude.
I did not mean to. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'm going to bring in Crystal. Hi.
I love.
She was so great.
Isn't she just so
What?
adorable and spot
Oh,
on?
yeah. I want to squish her so bad.
Life goals right there,
Fiona.
right?
I know.
Total life goals, for
How-
sure.
How are you, my beautiful friend?
Good. How are you, beautiful friends?
We're having fun. We're glad that you're here. And I'm like, I feel like you add such like goddess level wisdom to every topic that you step into the round table for. So what was it that got you excited about numerology? I've heard it's your thing.
It's my thing. I love numerology. I've loved it for, I think I started loving it when I started studying Reiki and mastering in that realm. It kind of came with it, along with all the things, once you go on the spiritual journey, all the things start showing up, which was so fun about Fiona, because to have that piece of her remind me that tarot it's like tarot and numerology matches to every stone, matches to every chakra, matches, it's like we could really just I probably feel like I should make a whole map just to have that in front of me. I don't ever think about how numerology is dropping into tarot anymore, because the way I see it is from such a space of life lessons and soul purpose. But now, like, that was so fun, just getting that visual also. So I'm going to go back to that. Yeah. Thanks, Fiona. That was awesome. I loved it.
All three of the ones that I went on several different spiritual websites because I'm a researcher now. They were saying all three they refer back to tarot. So all three of the major practices refer back to tarot, and how those numbers, those vibrations of each letter and each number, they match the tarot. And that's exactly what Fiona was doing. So I'm so glad we had her for that demonstration. I'm so excited to see what you came up with too, my love, because you're always so goddamn insightful.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just, tarot is so much fun, or not tarot, numerology is so much fun. So I like to use life path numerology. And I've learned this study from a man named Dan Millman. He also is the creator of the book / turned to movie Conversations with God. He's a really incredible presence in the life path numerology. He's done years and years of studying around it from this point of view, and it really resonates with me. A little bit of background that I love around numerology is that it's created by a man named Pythagoras, who is the father of geometry, all the way like back in the day. And he knew that, numbers had patterns and they were connected to spiritual messages. So I was really inspired by all of that vibe once I found it. And then diving into the studies that Dan Millman created truly it changed my life and set it in the direction that I still use basically on a daily basis with my clients, with myself, anywhere. One year I gave everybody their life path numerology reading for Christmas. I copied the whole book and typed each and every. I mean, it was crazy. Some people were like, I don't care, I was still a little bit. It was crazy to be like this. Everyone now is like, oh, right, we're awake. Back then, it was like, she's woo.
Cool, girl. I would have taken the gift card. Cool, girl.
And it was the most loving gift I could give, because I was like, dude, once you get this information, you are going to have the key to your fucking life purpose.
It's all in their bottom drawer behind their jokos.
That just went to the trash. And I didn't want to copy it out of a book. It was a lot of writing. Anyway, I don't even know. That's probably weird copyright shit anyways. So I don't even know if I should.
You're not going to get sued, girl.
Oh my God. Okay, so anyway, to dive into, just a little pre stuff on life path numerology. The reason I love it is because it shows us what our soul purpose is here. Like, Ashley, as your soul, this is what you will continue to face in your life, either as a challenge or a superpower. And I'm super engaged in all that kind of, this is like what I do with the sex coaching too, is like, are you in shadow or are you in superpower? And I love having those hacks in life, you know? So life path numerology says simply, this is what your soul is here to learn. And it will not deviate from that. I have witnessed it in myself and in everywhere I look. Everywhere I look, if I give someone their numbers, we are having a serious moment of like, damn, this is nuts. And also the beautiful tools, or the beautiful thing about it is that it's a tool. So when you're in that place and you're feeling super blocked, you can truly look to your life path numbers and ask, am I practicing this in superpower, or am I practicing this in shadow? And if I can switch to superpower mode and like what that would mean, then things will obviously ascend, and flow easier for you. So Ashley, January 16th, 1984, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you probably already know that adds up to a 3, right?
I do.
Okay. So well, adds up to 30.
Tell people that maybe just how they can find their number, and because that might be like a fun thing for people to do that are listening.
Totally, it's gonna be fun for them to do. Okay, so you take your whole birthday. So Ashley's birthday is 1/16/1984. So you will put a plus sign in between each number, and you will add them all individually together. And what you get at the end, well, yours, Ashley, is a 30. And 0 is considered, like in life path numerology, it's considered spiritual gifts, and kind of like a highlighter, like it makes it a little bit more special and supported. But it doesn't necessarily add any more numbers to it. So you're primarily a 3 with extra special supported gifts within 3. Okay. But so for me, like I'm 1/21/1983, that adds up to it adds up to 25. So in case someone gets 2 numbers at the end, they're going to again add the 2 and the 5, and then I would be 7. But that 2 and 5 is also a part of my life path. Okay, so actually I'm a 2-5-7. I'm going to be working 2, 5, and 7 my whole life while I'm here. And I do.
So mine is very, very focused then. If I'm a 30 and at root number 3, that means that it's kind of like the same stuff.
It's like really potent, right? The energies of 3 that you have, they're really potent and they're really supported. And they're just extra spiritual gifts within it. So I also will say that people might just basically add everything up, one by one, add everything up until you get these numbers, 1 through 9, or 11, 22, 30, 33, or 12. 11, 22, 33, or 12. These are considered power numbers. And every time I meet one of these people, they're like blowing my mind. And just get the book. Get the book. It's so amazing. It's life path. It's Dan Milliman, Life Path Numerology. Just get that book, and you can learn all about this.
I'm gonna put it in the comments for everybody.
Yeah.
So with the 30, which boils down to a highlighted 3, what comes up?
Okay, so number 3 is a very spiritual number. It's a number that focuses on emotionality, sensitivity, and expression. And she's also amplified in spiritual gifts around that. So to be in heightened, superpowered number 3, she is speaking from a place, Ashley, you're speaking from a place of your sensitivity. You're in touch with your emotions. You gather your truth from like your sacral chakra area. It's like very womb water energy. And if you are coming from that place and speaking your truth and expressing yourself, you are going to rise and live in your highest form. The other side of that, the lesson that you are continually faced with, and it's good, right? It's here to like continue to like help tease that out and grow that out of us, or grow it, us grow into it, is being insensitive to yourself and holding things down, not expressing from a place of genuine sensitivity, and instead holding them and then barking at someone.
Interesting.
That with something that I learned when I was like looking at this numerology book, and it said about me, which is so true, that sometimes I confuse intellectual vulnerability with emotional vulnerability. And I'm like, yep, I feel like I totally talking about what's going on or what's challenging. Like I'm very good at explaining it and be like, well, this is what's happening and this is what's going on to me, versus like fully embodying it and just sort of like letting it flow out. It's like I use my words and logic to communicate it. And so that totally matches up with something that I just became aware of recently.
That's a beautiful learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful learning.
That's why you're given that cartoon anime face, so you can't really hide that much just through your words, because I can read you, bitch. I'll read you. Go on, Crystal. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's all about expressing. It's all about feel your feelings, period. Feel your feelings. That's what this number is asking you to do all day long, every day. Feel your feelings, be sensitive to yourself. Yeah. Like get in that space where you're like, even if you have to ask, like for a moment, like, let me center this, because it feeds you to be able to express from that place of loving kindness and your soft center, rather than I feel so much. I mean, 3s they feel everything. They feel everything. They're super empathic. They have that whole vibe where there's like, they feel that energy, and how we deal with feeling a lot of energy is different for everyone, because some people feel so much energy that they choose to shut down. And they choose to have blockages, and then they hold things back, and then they bark and explode and do all these things. And you'll be able to catch that in yourself. If you can catch that in yourself and train yourself and go, ooh, I'm feeling that like triggering or that shadowing come up. It's asking you to go deeper into your emotional system and be sensitive and kind and easy on yourself. And then express from there. Yeah. It's so interesting. I end up finding a lot of clients that way. I don't know, the dichotomy of like what your message in life is, and then how it serves someone else when you're coach, teacher, or guide. It's like, I find a lot of people where I'm like, feel your feelings. We have to feel your feelings, So it's always fun to talk about the number 3 for me. Also, I added up what your year is this year. And I love this so much because you are in a number 3 year this year. So boom, here you are in number 3 year and started your expression, right? Your sensitivity, your divine feminine work, like big time, expressing it out into the world. And this is your year to express yourself and get really sensitive and be more in tune. Just watching you, like, sorry, something dropped behind me. Be more in tune with all the things. And I mean, it's just been beautiful to witness you, and obviously, and then knowing it's your number 3 year was super fun to learn.
I love it. So
I feel like you just got a lot of confirmation, dude. You got a lot of confirmation.
Oh, totally. And honestly, like I'm in therapy for the first time because I've leaned on a lot of coaches, and then I do feel like I think each person is different. So I feel like I was drawn to a very specific therapist that was comfortable sort of like playing in the spiritual space that I could talk about channeling, and she isn't just like thinking I'm fucking nuts, you know? So important. But yeah, like I feel like that's the thing that she's been really driving home for me. Like, you know, is this the child or the adult? Which, like, I feel like sometimes coming from the child or the 12-year-old version or self might be that shadow side or that hurt side or from pain. And I just want to go around it because I logically am a coach. So it's easy for me to be like, well, like I understand that I can't take that personally and to explain it to myself. But then she's like, that's great. And we're going to let that shit go. And you're going to feel your feelings. And it's great that you're so compassionate and so loving and all of this. But if you're feeling pain or hurt or this or that, feel it fully feel it. And so I feel like I've cried more times than ever between like therapy and coaching. And I am very extra sensitive. And so she just keeps reminding me, she's just like, I was explaining a situation that happened this week that like I felt very triggered by. And she's like, remember, doing this work, like diving into this, you were extra sensitive. Like you are raw right now. So you will be feeling a lot so deeply. And so I think that everything that you've said is like confirmation that I am like really doing the work that I came here to do this year as well.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And like, I want to name that like, it's a spiritual bypass, right? It's when you're coaching, you're teaching, you're guiding, you think I experience that too, where I just feel, well, like I know how to process this out mentally instead of, no, I'm going to do the work just like everybody else, you know? Shoot.
So look at what Fiona said. 4 and 3 are great combos to work together. I guess we're the balance of the emperor and the empress, the divine like, were we saying that, James? That like sacred masculine and sacred feminine. So,
and then also is the most highly spiritual number. I mean, 9 is the last number, right? In the numerology. So what comes in 9 is wisdom and integrity to bring the wisdom forward, which I love that was like part, or was it part of something that you had, James? You are 4.
Yeah,
but
4.
in your names, there was a 9, I feel like. So that was interesting, I thought.
So real quick, Crystal, what are you working on right now just to keep the roundtable abreast? Because you got some things going on, girl, right?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm super excited. I'm building a group course, and I'm still doing my individual coaching, and I'm pivoting it really specifically towards helping people awaken their erotic personas, which numerology is always going to be a part of that for me, because we're going to talk about like, what is your soul purpose? Are you able to feel your feelings? Are you here to be like living in spirituality? Are you here to be a CEO? You know, are you here to be the boss? Like, it's important for people. I love this shit because it's hacky. They're like cheat codes, you know?
Game Genie, almost.
Yeah. Like if this was a video game, this would be cheat codes.
Well, I think it's also like stuff you intuitively know but bury, or like the ego, when it works on the lower level and the ego wants to suppress you, it will be like, no, you're not that great, or you're not this, or you're not that. Like, so for Fiona give me confirmation, that's when my soul can go, I told you, motherfucker, like, listen up, because I think that the ego always works in two ways, where, you know, it presses us up and we're above someone, or it presses us down, we're below something. So for her to give me that confirmation, so I think everyone should jump into numerology, because it might change something within you.
Soul path, life path numerology, man. It's so, because it really tells you, what am I here to learn? I mean, even James, I love how she brought your stability, your you know, this like gentle lovingness, like foundational stability. Yes, that is what 4 is here to learn. It's here to learn about foundation, and it will be faced with not foundation until it figures it out. And that's like the fucking key. Like, people are like, I don't know how to get my life together. And I'm like, look at your life path numerology.
And they're like, this crazy bitch, stop giving me this Christmas gift.
Go look, and you will be free.
Well, baby, I'm so glad.
This is what you're supposed to learn.
And they try to side pass it and sidestep it, but the universe ain't fucking around with you.
No.
Yeah. No. That's what I have learned through all these different, you know, past tarot, ruins, numerology. The universe ain't fucking around with you. So lean into it. Surrender, bitch. But Crystal, baby, I'm so glad you're back at the round table. I hope you're going to join us before, we're thinking about doing like a winter break, so I hope you'll join us before then. God, you always look so amazing.
Good.
You always look so amazing, and I love seeing you when you're in California. And
I loved it too. Thank you. Thanks
baby.
for the time.
Thank you for that, Crystal. I feel like you definitely confirmed a lot. I feel like I saw it from a different angle. I did not see that same thing when I read mine. There was like, I think different words and different texts are going to resonate differently. And so I feel like it's almost like you get different like layers of things. So I think I'm going to get that book, because I've been thinking about, I was starting to dive into human design, which I feel like has some shadow of this, but it's very complex. And I feel like numerology, I can kind of like get my arms around it a little bit easier. And so I'm like, I've been curious about diving into it for kind of how Fiona was saying, like when you start working with a client, like having a very kind of quick way to like dive deeper into the relationship with them. So thank you for that. And then we just put Crystal's information, her site, and where you can follow her. So if you want to hang out with Crystal, which I highly recommend, follow those links.
Also, before I go, I want to say, respond to that, what you were just saying. I feel like we use that in the world of, can use that in the world of guiding, teaching, and coaching. But truly, my favorite part is to use it like to know how to be a mom, or to know how to be a wife to my husband, and like what his journey is here, and how mine and his, you know, we can now take this into relationships. For me to know what my kid's sole purpose is already is effing major. Like, and pointing that, you know, obviously as a parent, let them be. But do you want to be a CEO? Because it is in your numbers. So I want to say that. I want to leave with that. It's just amazing, because it can help us be more connected and conscious in our relationships, which is a very healthy thing for all of us.
I love you so much.
Love you guys both too. Thanks for letting me play.
Thank you for playing.
Thank you, Crystal.
Bye,
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too. Talk soon, guys.
Bye.
Babes.
Bye.
That was so good. That was like way beyond a numerology conversation than I could have dreamed of. So
I feel like she just gave you a spiritual hand job with all that information. And I think it's fascinating, like, not to spill too much of your tea, but like, you know, for you to be a 3 in a 3 year, I think you needed to hear that, because
you know that it's intense emotionally. Yeah. I mean, I think, and I saw Christina asking about the year. So from what I've learned in my book, and this one is just called The Ultimate Guide to Numerology by Tanya Gabrielle. This one I think is just like a good one for like kind of general, like it's like birth code, which like life path is like a little bit of, and that's why I'm so curious to dive into what Crystal was recommending, because I think it's going to go so much deeper. But I know that for a personal year, like for 2020, it would be like, since they're the zeros, it would be 2 plus 2. And also I'm thinking, because of what we learned from our guests, that and the zeros are intensification. So I think that that's really interesting. But it would be your birthday and the year added, and you can look this up and sort of confirm it separately, since I'm not like a personal year expert, but I want to say that it starts like on your birthday. So if your birthday's in June, it would go from June to June. It wouldn't necessarily start on the first like of the month in January. So yeah, is there any like final thoughts? Do you want to talk about next week's, about past life?
Yeah, I'm super stoked for next week. God, it's almost, is it since we went on that road trip together and we really listened to Journey of Souls together and really tapped, it's 2 years now, right? So anyways, we're talking about past lives, which I will, correlate with reincarnation, and kind of, Crystal touching on like what your soul's journey is here, for this experience. It'll go on like what your past experiences might have been, but this stuff really trips me in the motherfuck out, especially it has been as of lately. It's fascinating. It really helped pinpoint my personal faith to understand past lives and reincarnation, and it helped me really come to peace with death, especially because in my life there's been a bunch of death, there's still a lot of death, and the world I walk in, and it really helped me come to peace with death. It's not such a scary, ominous, lurking thing for me anymore. Is to understand past lives and future lives, and that we're here to learn lessons, and we've already learned lessons, and sometimes we did great and sometimes we need a do-over. What about you? What are you excited for next week?
Well, I'm still confirming our guests, but there's been a lot of hand raises. I know one person does past life regressions and is also a psychotherapist, and I'm just like, bring this person to the round table. I bet they have some good stuff, because the Journey of Souls actually was written by somebody that did hypnosis to lead people into the space where they were seeing themselves. They all had very similar descriptions of what happened to them between lives and how they selected lives. And so I'm also itching to get somebody in here next week that can like maybe do past life readings. Somebody that might even be willing to bring in things that they see, because I've done a past life reading before, and it's just fascinating. And I think that it describes like if you have different phobias or fears or recurring things, talents that seem to not make sense. I think it just really can also confirm and be yet another angle to understand our soul, and is that we've done a lot of these things in many lifetimes, a lot of the gifts that we have. And so while our logical mind likes to be like, oh, I'm new at this, I've never written been a published author. It's just like, you've probably fucking been writing things for multiple lifetimes, and you just need to like go and do it, because that's a part of your gifts and a part of your soul. And so I feel like it can give people like a different layer of confidence to actually trust in their gifts, and maybe not just like the way that things appear in this like physical reality.
I love that. I love how you look tonight.
Thank you.
You're scrumptious.
Well, apparently we're the Emperor and the Empress. And oh, you know what's so funny is like I have this like, it's all dirty. I can't even pick it up. But like from that store that I like, where I buy, it's all dirty. And apparently it's burnt, but like it's an incense holder. It holds an incense, but it's like this Empress one, and I never really thought about it, but it's actually the Empress, and so clearly my soul has a resonance with that already. And
I'm just pulling apart all your glamour right now.
Like, stop it. Are you going to tell people next time my studio is actually in my garage and then my car is parked right here, and this isn't just like a luxurious like penthouse with like a pool deck?
Your
Don't
secret
let I'm not really I mean, I have rainbow lightning bolts, so I'm not really trying to be that professional over here. Let's be honest.
That was like the behind the scenes documentary. You just exposed yourself. She's huddled over her car doing this whole thing.
Bob will literally do like Zooms with like the Mazda behind him, and I'm like, can you? Why? Like, just try to face a wall. Like, make it look like you're in a house, not in a ghetto garage. Come on.
Don't use my lightning bolts, though. That's my thing.
All right. I feel like we're getting out of hand here, so I think we should just wrap it up.
All right, wrap it up, girl.
Good night, everybody. We will see you. We'll see you next week for past lives, and have a good weekend. Bye everybody.